Welcome again, everyone. My name is Juanito Calipbird, or JC. If you've been following me already, as I've said, I've been doing these vlogs to share my work and professional journey here in the UK as a physiotherapist, hoping to help other people who are in the same situation, especially those who are internationally trained. Hopefully, you can check my other videos and learn from them. And also, if you're a CSP member and you think I can help you in a one-to-one basis, please check out CSP's mentoring scheme and look for my name. Okay, so for this video, I'll be focusing on preparing for a Band 6 physiotherapist job interview. So you got a job interview after applying for a job advert, and so your next task is to prepare for it. Again, I'll be speaking about my experience, my analysis and feedback on things. I'm not playing as an expert here, okay? Some of you may already know better or already know what I'm talking about, but again, the purpose of this videos is for those who are getting used to the system, especially those who are internationally trained. Okay, so bear with me. So band 6 again, after qualifying band 5, then you get more experience so you can start applying for band 6. um, in For those who's been internationally trained, sometimes the HCPC requires you to get an additional top-up training or qualification, or some of them I've heard has taken master's degree before they get registered and start applying for a job here in the UK. And I've heard that usually, because of that, makes them qualified to be a band 6 straight away. Okay, so there's different routes in our case. In my case, I think I didn't have that 1 to 2 years of experience, but I had 8 years of experience in the background in a rehab setting. So yeah, it's a case-to-case basis. And another tip that I think worked for me as well is that it doesn't need to be all clinical skills and experience, and it doesn't need to be all about rehab experience. So in my case, I've also mentioned about my non-clinical experience and emphasized that I had transferable skills from that, and I think it worked. I've been told that you also need to take up trainings or additional courses or masters when you want to start to progress. Yes, it can be an additional advantage, but in my case it didn't. And I've heard a colleague as well that said it didn't need to. So in my case, preparing for band 6, I cannot find any resources that I can refer to for ideas and suggestions, other than videos. Very rare, very scarce. There's no book compared to the band 5. It's only just yeah, the social media, the websites, and suggestions and ideas from colleagues and seniors that I have at work, and experts with interviewing and hiring band 5s and band 6. And I was wondering, um, possibly it's because it's just experience progressing your career from band 5, and the only reason for the progression to band 6 is your experience. And indeed, I was even told that progressing your career into band 6 is just basing on your patient mileage. So the more experienced you are, and the more um, knowledge and skills you've acquired from seeing patients is your basis. So the more confident you are, then you can apply. Um, More specifically, other people have said that if you think you'll be ready to progress, is when you think you can have a wider perspective of things, about your patient, about the workplace you are working with, the hospital or the community you're working with. Yes, they said a band 5 would be a junior physiotherapist, a band 6 you'll become a senior physiotherapist. And I've been told that being a band 6 you'll have more involvement with clinical governance, and if there is research in your service, you're likely to be involved in that. So let's talk about it one by one. I've mentioned that you become a senior physiotherapist being after being a junior. So expect that you will have um, management questions in your interview. So you are expected you'll have opportunities as a band 6 to be managing band 5s in your team, support workers in your team, and collaborating more with your other clinicians in your team. um, so for example, you're working on a patient, sometimes you actually don't you don't just ask another band 5, but you're actually needing to be working with another band 6, for example occupational therapist or speech therapist. So they said you as an experienced member of the team, you have more ideas of the value of the other members of your MDT. Okay. um, so with this, as I remember in my interview, I've been asked about how to handle an underperforming staff, and there was a case as well about um, the staff's patient's family has been complaining. So how, it's sort of conflict resolution question as well. And then I mentioned about audits, KPIs being more involved in clinical governance, and so you might be expecting more of um, caseload questions and competency questions. But as I remember, I don't have specifically have a question on about clinical governance. However, I've been mentioning it a lot on just an extra additional information about myself. And yeah, there was like, I just mentioned that on the skills and experiences questions. I also mentioned that you get more involved with research if your service has one, or doing so. So if you have experience on that, mention it. If not, you might want to show your competence or your interest on participating on one, if the in case there is something upcoming or planned. And also, I've been told that applying for a band 6 or a band 6 role, you're expected to be, as I've said, more knowledgeable and more upholding evidence-based practice. So it will be good if you demonstrate in your answers, in the interview, a lot of evidence-based readings that you've had recently if you've not been asked, to show that you are on that level, um, and that you value the evidence-based practice. Okay. So far these are my ideas and suggestions. Hopefully they can be helpful, and I have other things to share if you opt in the CSP's mentoring scheme. So hopefully, if you need my help, just contact me there. Thank you for listening, and see you in my other videos.